It is 6:30 p.m. in Cameroon. Good evening and thanks for being a part of today's edition of Prime News Live from Studio 1 of My Media Prime Television here in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. My name is Fon Quinter. The news starts now following the victory or the 0-1 victory against Astro Football Club of Douala. The PWD Social Football Club of Bamenda has emerged winners of the 2021 Cup of Cameroon Football Championship. Now, how far will this victory influence the amelioration of football in the Northwest region? Analysis with Joy Ngong.
PWD Social Football Club of Bamenda has successfully broken what many term the curses of 1967 and 1979 Cup of Cameroon after beating Astro Football Club of Douala 1-0 yesterday. The victory for the Abakwa boys during the 60th edition of the Cameroon Cup Finals increased Cup of Cameroon titles in the Northwest region to 3 after Kumbo Strikers in 2000, Young Sport Academy of Bamenda in 2013, and now PWD in 2021. 3 cup titles for one region with very less attention paid to its sports sector. Footballers who train under deplorable conditions, very little wages paid to the players, lack of adequate sporting facilities, not even an up-to-date stadium where fans and supporters can cheer up their players. During Sunday's encounter at the Amadou Ahijo Stadium, fans of the PWD Social Football Club were spotted carrying placards with the inscription, "We need a stadium in Bamenda." The lone municipal stadium existing in Bamenda had long been left in the bushes, dilapidated, with no effort towards rehabilitation and maintenance. PWD fans and the entire Northwest region are highly convinced that 3 titles are enough to draw the attention of the Cameroon Football Federation to the plight of footballers and their fans in that part of the country. As the fans say, the people of Bamenda know how to play football, but do not have a stadium in Bamenda.
Away from football, as March ordinary session of Parliament for the legislative year 2022 opened in Yaoundé, a bill to amend the constitution was dropped. The bill reportedly dropped by some ministers essentially concerns the creation of the post of Vice President. Center Regional Correspondent Colette Lum with details.
As the March ordinary session of Parliament for the legislative year 2022 in Yaoundé see the dawn of day 3, the once-month session had witnessed a drop in a bill to amend the constitution at the Senate, being the upper house of Parliament. Worth noting, the bill essentially concerns the creation of the post of Vice President. The bill was deposited Friday, March 11 by the Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo, alongside the Director of Civil Cabinet at the Presidency, Samuel Mvondo Ayolo, and Finance Minister Louis Paul Mutazi. The session of the upper house of Parliament called on senators to promote peace, unity, and the socio-economic development of the 10 regions of Cameroon. The call was made by the eldest members of the Senate, Senator Isabel Chokpano. The provisional bureau was by the eldest member of the Senate and 2 younger senators, Lekone Andreas Nembu and Amaris, who are conducting the deliberations until the new elections of a permanent bureau. It should be recalled, over the weekend, the 2022 ordinary March session of the Senate was led by the Prime Minister Joseph Dion Guti at the Yaoundé Conference Center. And in the speech of the eldest member of Parliament, her opening remarks during the session, the eldest member of the Senate expressed her gratitude to the entire members of the Senate, and just like the eldest member of the National Assembly, she too thanked the head of state for the successful organization of APCON. She equally praised the contribution of the First First Lady towards the colorful celebration of the 37th edition of the Women's Day in Cameroon. She urged senators to continue playing a leading role in the promotion of peace, unity, and the socio-economic development of the nation. Senators are therefore looking forward to the tabling of bills during this mass session that will meet up with what Cameroonians are looking forward to.
Now, teachers of the basic education sector have joined their colleagues to demand better working conditions and pay. They joined the strike action few hours after the Minister of Labour and Social Security threatened to suspend the salaries of teachers who failed to return to classrooms. Katrina Kongwe completes the story.
Despite government efforts to solve teachers' problems, such as the creation of a separate room to treat teachers' files at the Minfopra, the disbursement of 2.7 billion to pay teachers who marked the June 2020-2021 official exams organized by the Baccalaureate Board, teachers are not still relenting, as teachers of Japoma High School this morning were seen with messages of protest on placards. While the government is working to appease teachers, many continue to express their grievances in solidarity with the death of their colleague Hamidu, who had gone for 10 years without payments. As teachers push on with their strike actions, the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Gregoire Owona, has threatened to suspend the salaries of teachers who failed to go back to their classrooms. Barely 24 hours after his decision to suspend teachers, those in the basic education sector this morning joined their peers to protest as primary school teachers of Government Primary School Bonamusadi Douala have earlier today suspended lectures protesting against poor working conditions and non-integration into public service. Teachers have been striking for the payment of their salaries for over 4 weeks now and are not giving up.
The people of Isu, northwest region of Cameroon, are still mourning the disappearance of their Fon His Majesty Kum Atu Albert II. The Fon of Isu was assassinated alongside one of his wives by unidentified men along the Way Isu Highway. Charles Kiba completes the story from Bamenda.
The people of Isu keep mourning the missing of their Fon, His Majesty Fon Kum Atro Albert II Kawazu, Fon of Isu village in Fungam subdivision of the Northwest region, burnt down alongside one of his wife March 9, 2022 by yet unidentified gunmen along the Way Isu road remains imaginable amongst the people of Isu.
Very incident that happened, they have started a few days before the start incident. A few days along the road to where a family was attacked by that same group. After the following day, a group of women were molested. Their phones seized. The money they had in them seized. They came to the palace here to this same Majesty and complained. As a good leader, he carried them in his pickup, went over to the military, gave the complaint. All they did was to ask their phone numbers, and they connected. Even to make an attempt to go to the place and find out what has happened, so that the people can even hear that the military were looking for them and they escaped. Nothing was done. Then the following day, they waylaid His Majesty and attacked him and killed him inside his vehicle. So the Isu man is devastated. I lack words to express myself.
One of the Fon's wives and a notable who survived the attack are presently responding to treatment at the Isu Medicalized Health Center.
So this thing that has happened today like this, I don't even know. It's painful to me. It's painful to me. He has not even said anything. No word.
The royalty in blood, senseless and painful exit targeted Isu population question why their king and great leader, dynamic, lovely, God-fearing and peacemaker in the division.
How he started up from the time he was in throne, that he was a dynamic Fon that loved the whole village and abide to all traditional norms. But the fact is that for now, that he is not. We, the kingmakers, shall be the people to know how to hold fast.
Very lost. It's a terrible situation that the whole of the mention front have lost the greatest hero, the greatest peacemaker in the whole of mention as a whole.
As the kingmakers of Isu hold fast on aspect getting a new phone, inhabitants of Isu to Menchum call on government to open up investigation, get the roots, strive for justice to reign and peace. It should be noted the missing of the phone of Isu, Fon Quinter Albert II Kawazu, was last seen at the enthronement of Fon Mbu II of Wei, a neighboring village to Isu, where he performed spiritual rites as a representative of the Fon's Union and the Fon's of Menchum at the event.
We stay in Menchum Division, Northwest region of Cameroon. This time we talk about the visit of General Cavalry Commander of the 5th Joint Military Region. He was in the division to assess the level of security and carry out civil military activities, which falls within the framework of peace building in the region. Get details right ahead. In the absence of that report, we talk about Cameroon that has shared its vision of being a sustainable country and a land of vast opportunities during its National Day celebration at the Expo 2020 Dubai. The event, which will host the world for 182 days, is giving participating countries the opportunity to beam up their cultural potentials. And yesterday, March 13, was Cameroon's turn. Details with Nolinga.
Cameroon celebrates its National Day during the international horticultural event dubbed Expo 2020, currently taking place in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. The event, which began since October 1st, 2021, is expected to run through the 31st of March this year. During the event, Najib Mohammed Al-Ali, Executive Director at the Commissioner General's Office of the Expo 2020 Dubai, received Iya Tijani, Ambassador of Cameroon to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, while commenting on Cameroon's participation during the ongoing ceremony.
It brings me great pleasure to welcome you today at the heart of Expo 2020 Dubai to celebrate the National Day of the Republic of Cameroon. I would like to extend our warm wishes to Your Excellency and to the people of Cameroon on this occasion and express our appreciation with regard to Cameroon's meaningful participation in this global event.
On his part, Iya Tijani said Cameroon's participation in this most important event can't be overemphasized.
The pavilion invites visitors and stakeholders to explore Cameroon as a miniature Africa for its geographical, cultural, and human diversity.
Celebrating under the theme, Connecting Minds and Creating the Future, Cameroon has demonstrated its prowess as Africa in miniature by tallying with the objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals to be achieved by 2030. The show, which integrated dance, traditional music, and colorful costumes, also incorporated a clear message on the importance of strategies to unite the production of greenhouse gases that lead to global warming and intensify natural disasters. The Cameroonian population, on the other hand, as well as other citizens now present in Dubai, also stopped by at the Cameroon Pavilion to watch and appreciate some of Cameroon's artifacts and skills displayed as top Cameroonian entertainers like Askia graced the day.
Away from Expo Dubai 2020, let's go back to Menchum Division of the Northwest region to talk about the visit of Brigadier General Cavalry Commander of the 5th Joint Military Region. He was in the division to assess the level of security and carry out civil military activities, which falls within the framework of peace building in the region. Details right ahead. In the face of mounting security challenges tearing the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon for some time now, joint efforts aimed at solidifying the bond between the population and their defense and security forces are increasingly visible in some communities.
Peace in the Northwest region has been disrupted during the last 5 years due to criminals and terrorists claiming to fight for secession. Many people have died, soldiers like war civilians. Recently, many people have been killed and houses burned in the Northwest region by terrorists.
It is against this backdrop that the commander of the 5th Joint Military Region, Brigadier General Cavalier, over the weekend carried out a security assessment mission and civil military activity in some localities in Menchum Division of the Northwest Region.
Many inhabitants in the Northwest Region have moved to other areas of the country or to Nigeria are now IDPs or refugees. You people have decided to stay and face the so-called Amazonians. Let me congratulate you for your courage. You must continue and to stand strong.
While striving to rise above insecurity, General Cavalier called on the population to work in synergy with defense and security forces, as well as remain disciplined.
The President of the Republic, President Forba, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, has sent the defense and security forces to protect you, not to kill you. The soldiers, gendarmes, and policemen are here to protect you. We need your total collaboration to better secure you and your property.
During the security and peace building mission in Menchum Division, General Cavalier and his team inaugurated a water scheme in Womb that covers 5 quarters and supplies the population of over 2,000 households. They donated benches and some didactic materials to 4 schools in the division, held a peace building meeting with Fons and others of Fungom subdivision, free screening consultation, and drugs administered by a team of military medical doctors and nurses, amongst others. Driving through rough terrains and welcomed by thanks groups and the local population, Peace and Unity Gala football and handball matches between Saturday Sharp and Old Town United FC and Uprising Stars of Ipalim and Young Strikers Imo crowned his mission in Menchum Division, Northwest Region of Cameroon. Territorial Administration Minister Paula Thanganji has banned the consumption and sales of shisha in the country. The order is contained in a communique signed March 7, 2022, as Audrey Zadza tells us.
The marketing and consumption of this water pipe, popularly known as shisha and mostly used in snack bars, is now prohibited on the national territory. The decision of the Cameroonian government to place a ban on its commercialization and consumption in the country comes after a ministerial deliberation spearheaded by Public Health Minister Dr. Manauda Malachi, where it was concluded that the content is toxic to the human system. The Minister of Territorial Administration, through an order signed on March 7, instructed the administrative authorities to initiate appropriate actions to fight against this drug. Going by some Cameroonian reactions on Twitter following the announcement, shisha is one of the major means most snack bars in the country make money. Some have even argued that the country has more pressing issues rather than the ban on shisha, which is less harmful than cigarette. In a shisha, tobacco is burnt using charcoal. The smoke passes through a water-filled bowl and leaves through a hose. By inhaling at one end of the hose, a vacuum is produced that makes smoke pass through the water to the smoker. There are 2 common misconceptions about shisha smoking. The first being that it is less harmful than cigarette, as the smoke is believed to be cleansed while passing through water, and the second being that it is less addictive than cigarettes. But both assertions seem wrong, as recently the World Health Organization in an advisory note to regulators revealed that Shisha smokers inhale large quantities of harmful particles and are at risk of the same diseases as cigarette smokers, including a variety of cancers. The World Health Organization insisted that during a single session of shisha, one can inhale several times more nicotine, carbon monoxide, and cancer-causing chemicals than a single cigarette. The said decree, therefore, officially puts an end to the use of shisha, especially among Cameroonian youths.
Most seamstresses and tailors in the nation's capital city, Yaoundé, say they are undergoing persistent challenges. They have blamed these challenges to a couple of factors, including the aftermath effect of COVID-19. Kaleluma Center regional correspondent visited some of these shops and now reports.
Mastering a trade, doing business in Cameroon can sometimes be very challenging, since most of these business persons are plagued with numerous crises. Aside the phenomenon of limited clients, a seamstress dwells on some of these ups and downs.
At times I find difficulties, although when I open up, I've not yet finished buying all the necessary needs that I need here.
Numerous taxes is another cause for concern. Our seamstress tells her story.
I knew that we are in the quarter, like this, and poor people will not really disturb much. And there's also this tax de jeunes. They also came, they are asking for their own 20,000 a year. At times when they come, there's no money, they will lock your door.
Aside high rent, inflated electricity bills, seamstress tell us most often work for little or no gain. There are difficulties. The challenges are enormous. Even to make profits that can foot bills, unlike at first, it's a dead dream now. We have scarcity of clients in the first place and few that can pay very little, such that after collecting the labor, even to have gains is far-fetched. Concerning taxes, though they have changed the categories, we are battling with it.
Having a location in the quarters or in streets very far away from the main road actually makes things a little bit complicated for your business. So the best way to thrive in business in Cameroon is to have a location by the roadside. Cameroonians love free things a lot. And Cameroonians hear free, just the word free. You're going to have sales, so because the way they are going to bombard your inbox or the way they are going to appear at your shop. If you want to win their heart, just try giving some few things for free.
Despite the numerous challenges faced by tailors in Cameroon, it's better to have these trades and manage than either around and indulge in theft.
March 13 to March 19 is commemorated annually as Patient Safety Awareness Week, aimed at encouraging everyone to know about healthcare safety. The event is commemorated this year under the theme Every Day is Patient Safety Day. Bokenga Ward tells us more on the floor report.
Every day, thousands of patients get infections in healthcare facilities, which can have severe emotional, social, financial effects on patients over time. According to Dr. Tedros Adhanom of the World Health Organization, pregnant women and their babies are more vulnerable to infections borne by poor patient safety and quality care.
Every day, nearly 5,400 babies are stillborn, and more than 800 women and 6,700 newborns die mainly around the time of childbirth. These deaths are mostly avoidable with safe and quality care, delivered by skilled health professionals, supported by a strong health system.
Nonetheless, healthcare procedures too often leave patients vulnerable to germs that can spread in healthcare settings from patients to patients by means of unclean hands, improper use or reuse of equipment and facilities such as beds, bedsheets, toilets, hospital wards, as well as poor diagnosis, amongst others. Worthy of note is the fact that hospital-borne infections, though many, are not limited to just hospital personnel, facilities, and healthcare givers, as more than 30 outbreaks of hepatitis B and C have been recorded in recent years in dialysis centers, outpatient clinic, and long-term care facilities. However, according to Center for Disease Control Associate Director for Infection Prevention Program, Dr. Ajum, these harms can be prevented in many ways than one.
First, remember, clean hands save lives. Cleaning our hands is one of the most effective ways to prevent the spread of diseases. Second, be alert to changes in your own health. For example, if you're currently taken or have recently taken antibiotics and you develop diarrhea, let your healthcare provider know. Third, take antibiotics only when your provider thinks you need them. If you take antibiotics when you don't need them, you're only exposing yourself to unnecessary side effects. And finally, speak up. Ask questions about your care. Know what medicines you're taking and why you're taking them. If you have concerns about your health or your care, share those concerns with your providers. The information that you share might be critical in getting you the care that you need.
Dedicated to raising awareness about patient safety in and out of a hospital, this week of March and all year round, it is important for everyone to be encouraged to learn about healthcare safety, inspire and take action, as safe quality care doesn't happen by accident. Rather, it should be intentional in everyone's part.
News out of the country: at least 35 people were killed and 135 others injured on Sunday by Russian airstrike on a beach near Ukraine's border with Poland. Eileen Summer with updates on Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
The war between Russia and Ukraine is getting worse by the day as the death toll and injured persons keep rising on the 19th day of invasion. On Sunday, an airstrike near Ukraine's border with Poland killed at least 35 people and injured 134 others, according to Ukrainian officials. This happened while the U.S. government was trying to ascertain whether or not Russia asked China for military equipment and other support following the start of its war in Ukraine, as confirmed by 3 U.S. officials on Sunday. The airstrike was carried out from the Black and Azov Seas, and about 30 missiles had hit the International Center for Peacekeeping and Security in Yavoriv, reports say. Note here that the attack came after Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov on Saturday suggested that Russian forces could try to destroy foreign shipments of weapons to Ukraine, calling them legitimate targets. It is worth noting that the International Center for Peacekeeping and Security regularly hosts American, Canadian, and other international instructors who help train the Ukrainian military. Meanwhile, the U.S. has warned China against helping Ukraine, saying she will face consequences if she helps Russia escape sanctions in its invasion of Ukraine. Meantime, at least 2 people have died and 12 others injured in another Russian airstrike on a residential building in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Firefighters attended the scene in Obolon district in the aftermath of the attack. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has visited wounded soldiers recovering at a military hospital. The Ukrainian leader chatted with the injured troops, posed for selfies with them, and awarded them with medals as well as hospital workers. On the sidelines, 2 Ukrainian teen students, Maxim Lutsik, 19, and Dmytro Kisilenko, 18, have voluntarily joined the army after 3 days training. They now add to the list of a group of young men who had volunteered at the center in Kyiv to fight for Ukraine. Nonetheless, Zelensky pushes for a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin as Moscow draws warnings from NATO after strikes on a major military base close to the alliance's border. Diplomatic efforts to end the war in Ukraine have stepped up with Ukrainian and Russian negotiators ready to resume talks following Russia's attack on the base near the Polish border and fighting rage across the country. For the record, since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24, 2022, about 100 area bombs have been dropped on Mariupol, Ukraine, leaving at least 2,187 residents dead, while 5,550 people have been evacuated from frontline cities through humanitarian corridors on Sunday, and 3,950 evacuated from towns and cities in the Kiev region.
Arlene Summers reporter ends today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. My name is Fon Quinter. Coming up next is Prime Hour with Leonard and his team. Have a great evening in the company of more programs on the African Eye Night.